Welcome to a BrewSpytheMagicGuy quick play. So we're playing Esper Shadow. This deck is kind of using some of the elements. Ooh, could be like a Taxus deck over there. Since that's the case, we should probably get our marsh flats on. But so what's cool about the deck is we're incorporating some of the same technology you're seeing some of these blue-white control decks in Modern splash into. Things like main deck Spellbomb, we're playing Kaya. We even have a tutorable Surgical Extraction. Now this is a matchup where we hope to not draw the Surgical. This is a very easy turn for us of Bauble and a fetch land. So we'll wait to see. I'm assuming there's some form of taxes, modern taxes, if they're playing field Aether Vial. So what we'll do is we'll check the top of our library. I see a Path. I do like Path in this matchup, so we'll go ahead and take the Bauble draw. And again, we want to get these fetch lands out of the way just because of what our opponent's playing. Now, we do have Street Wraith into Mausoleum Secrets. I'm happy with that play. Even if we crack both of these fetches, we can't quite get Tazagor or Gurmag into the field here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Still not quite enough. And since we have a little bit of a Delirium, sub-theme, we do need particular types of cards in our graveyard. I've trimmed a lot of the Delve threats. It's hard to get away from these entirely, just because fundamentally we're still a stubborn denial deck. Hallowed Fountain, huh? I don't necessarily want to give my opponent the option to Leonin Arbiter us. We already have the Hallowed Fountain in our hand. I don't want to take too much damage, but I also don't want him to just be able to put in the Leonin Arbiter in the middle of one of my fetches. It would be a little bit awkward. So we're going to go ahead and cycle that, and we're going to Secrets. Yeah, and if he had Leonin, that's where he would have played it. I mean, honestly, I might just like a Thoughtseize just to see what's going on over there. Just so I can kind of better plan out my turns. Like, more removal is always welcome, but I don't quite know how to play out my hand. I think a Thoughtseize is maybe even a reasonable grab here. So I don't quite know what I want to do. Oh, okay. That's cool. Oh man, this guy's playing Shikari. That's a man after my own heart. Alright, so Path takes care of the Zur. He's got the Solemnity on life combo in hand. Glenn's going to be a lot to slog through. Do I want to take him off of the combo? Yeah, I mean, Zur I'm not worried about. We've got Path. I mean, obviously he could be really slow in the way that he sequences things and uses Glenn first. Solemnity plus Archmage is a bit of a problem. It might be correct for me to take him off of that. So I think I actually want to take Solemnity because Solemnity is what's piecing together the Unlife and the Archmage. Obviously, Solemnity plus Unlife, of course, they can't lose. We can't win. So we'll take the Solemnity. And ideally, we just want to race, right? Now I'm kind of wishing I'd... No, that's fine. So we get Shadow in there. Next turn we could deploy... Yeah, Shikari's sweet. I'm sure there's Lightning Greaves in my opponent's deck. Spellskite, okay. unmaking. So if we just path and then unmaking the Aether Vial, they're actually in a lot of trouble. Just because their hand never really got off the ground. I actually really like Anguished Unmaking. I actually really like this as a tutor target because, like, although we don't quite have 3 creatures in the graveyard yet, it's kind of nice to have an out to things like Ensnaring Bridge that we can tutor for. But here we're just going to grab the Aether Vial. And swing for bunches. Opponent blocks. It's fine by me. This is probably the unlife. So we just need to deploy some threats here in a major way. Souls. And we just want power, so we're actually going to go with Gurmag, not Tazgur, even though Tazgur is the better grind piece. Yeah, he's absolutely the better piece for grinding, but I just want to make sure that we've got as much power on the table as possible. We do have one more Shockland. We've got a second Watery Grave in the build. That'd be unfortunate if he just straight up had the other thing he needed. Opponent's on a very fascinating deck, for sure. So Tazgur, Double Path, and Souls. We can flashback Souls. Then I won't be able to deploy Tazgur. That's probably an overcommitment of me to play the Tazgur, right? Watch him just go Verdict here. Okay. So absolutely we'll want the explosives. Kaya deals with Aether Vial and also is a resilient threat. Opponent's mana was disruptible that time. Doesn't mean it will be again, but slap this on a Howled Fountain. But yeah, I probably... We have to do the what was weak there, what was strong there. Lingering Souls seemed slow just for what they're doing. So he's got like Spellskite trying to protect. This doesn't hit Zur. I do like Slaughter Pact though, just because if my opponent brings in some graveyard hate, which I assume they're playing like Rest in Pieces, just because it's a tutor target. It's nice for the Whispers to still be able to get something, even if it's not, you know, killing every creature that they have. It looks like they were going kind of bigger, so I don't think I want Fatal Push. Shouldn't need the Spell Bombs. I think the Thoughtseizes are fine. It's a grind, so maybe Whispers is fine. I like the idea of Counter Squall. I don't know if I want all these stubs. It seemed like he's trying to go around counter magic just by being somewhat creature based. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't run them at all, but just trying to see if there's something else I want to do. Let's bring in the third Snapcaster. And if we're still running Mausoleum Secrets, I like to keep in my Architects and my Thought Scours. There's a very real possibility that we're going to get Rest in Peace. Usually, when that's the case, I like to slim just a little bit on the Delve threats. But only if we have something that's better. I mean, in this matchup, I would assume Lily of the Veil is going to be better than Liliana Last Hope. If we wanted to play another Planeswalker. Okay, 2 slots left. I mean, he's gonna just be hard casting the enchants. I mean, maybe we do want the stubs and the extra counter squall, just an extra tutorable counter squall. I'm not that impressed with the whole suite of path. I mean, yes, he does have persist creatures though. They'll probably be kitchen finks as well. So 2 cards. Let's go down to 1 Delve threat just because, and we'll go with the grindier of the two, which is Taziger. And that leaves me some room for a second tutorable squall, and let's still play a couple of stubborns. Oh, I didn't cut the surgical. Whoops. There we go. I knew there was something still hiding out in the deck that I needed to cut. Okay, Street Wraith, we're on the draw. We've got it. Architects as well. Mana looks good. Some interaction. Yeah, sideboard card. Can't go wrong. Alright, no Aether Vial. And even though we don't have a shadow yet, we're definitely the aggressor, so I'm going to shock that into play. Yeah, I'm assuming my opponent has things like Kitchen Finks if he's playing Solemnity. Solemnity usually will have things like Kitchen Finks, Viserys Seer, Glenelendra Archmage. It's a cool little deck for sure. Is this him just slamming a Rest in Peace? Slamming a Spellskite. Okay. Street Wraith, Street Wraith. Okay. And you can see we already have 3 black creatures for this Mausoleum Secrets. If we wanted to do something with that. If we wanted to just go get, Planeswalker, we could. Street Wraith again. A Bauble. We should have used it on ourselves, though, because I have a tutor. Not that there's anything wrong with getting a little information, but usually you want to use it on yourself if you have a way to shuffle. I forgot that we could just secrets here. So we're going to kick it back to the opponent. I don't want to just put the explosives out there on CMC2. Another watery. Dark Confidant. Okay. I mean, now I'm tempted to explosives for 2. Too bad I don't have something that would just wreck here. I mean, I could go grab Liliana. Can't quite answer them both unless I go get something like... We only have 1 white source, so I can't just go get another removal spell. We put the Fatal Push in the sideboard. I mean, I'm absolutely considering just casting Secrets here. Still. I think that's what I want to do. We could let him draw maybe 1 card off the Confidant. We also have Delirium, so we could just hit him with a Whispers here. Just don't want that Dark Confidant to run away with the game is all. We could get the Slaughter Pact. We could get the Slaughter Pact. Pact and Path. I forgot about us bringing in the Slaughter Pact. That might actually be the right call. I mean, it's tempting to Whispers them, but if they're drawing cards off the Confidant, it kind of undoes some of the card advantage here. We do have Delirium, right? Nope, only 2 card types. So we get the Slaughter Pact. We're not going to use it yet. We want to wait until We untap. And we'll shock that in. I know my opponent's probably thinking like, this guy has all the answers. We actually don't have a threat though. So hopefully this Thought Scour renders us a threat. But yeah, I like some of what's going on here. We've got some of, like I said earlier, some of the same elements as these. That's fine. I think that's fine. Maybe that's not fine because I don't quite have a removal spell at the ready. This will probably be 3-mana enchantment. Yep, there's your Solemnity. So now I wish I'd played the Swamp, because now I can't do this. Or I can just draw a Thoughtseize off the top like an amazing person. Oof, okay. Oh, okay, or we can just draw Shadow again at the perfect time. I mean, we can clear these out with the explosives if we need to, but I kind of want to just go Shadow, go. And again, I probably should be Thought Scouring what's the word I'm looking for? Proactively. I think I'll Thought Scour. I think unfortunately I might actually have to stub this. I mean, I could just take out the Oromancy and the Greaves though next turn with explosives relatively mana efficiently. Yeah, I think that's fine. Put him to 3. I mean, that should be game. Well, it is game. So we're going to Snapcaster the secrets. All right. Awesome. Okay, guys. Thanks for tuning in for this little one-off. Just kind of like a sneak peek of the deck that we've been working on, and definitely Brews by Brews. I definitely owe you guys for helping me in playtesting and this and that. I try my best not to take the credit. Credit definitely goes to the team here. And modern day heroes in general. I'll sometimes bounce these ideas off Evan and Fluffy, but I think this is a cool concept. I'm not gonna say anything too soon, like that it's good. I think it's a little too soon to say that, but yeah, I will say I like how the deck plays. I really enjoy it. I have most of this. Excuse me. I have most of this in paper. I'm just missing, for example, the Kayas and a couple other little pieces. But so far, I've liked a lot of the tutor targets. I like that Cry the Carnarium finally gives me that sideboard tutor target that the deck was lacking before. We weren't able to search for Flaying Tendrils because that's devoid. It's not actually black. So yeah, just still balancing little bits and pieces here. But some of the best reasons to be in Esper colors right now, just in general in Modern, are definitely things like Kaya. There's a lot of players trying her out. I think her minus ability is much more relevant in Modern than a lot of us would think, and her plus ability is very relevant right now with a lot of Dredge and Phoenix. And yes, it's a little awkward I think she fits obviously better in like an Esper control, cryptic style to fairy style of deck. But I haven't minded her here, just because a lot of the time against a lot of the decks that we're going to be using her plus ability on creatures. They're degenerate, they're graveyard based, and they're very fast. They're much faster than even Grixis Shadow, but they're certainly faster than Esper Shadow. Esper Shadow is a lot more grindy than something like Mardu or Grixis Shadow or some of the other red derivatives of Shadow that have access to Battle Rage. This is much more grindy. This is about, using Orzhov Charm to recur Death Shadow, for example. But there's a lot of things that Kaya targets right now. Everything from Aether Vial to a lot of the low to the ground aggressive decks. You hit things with the minus. So definitely she's a lot stronger than she maybe looks. Obviously, she seems a bit awkward in an Esper Shadow deck. I'll have to play around with her and see if that's actually the case. But other than that, I really enjoy the deck. Nothing more satisfying than setting up Delirium and then tutoring for the Whispers. I do like that we have the tutorable Surgical. Just in my initial testing, even, I know you guys didn't get to see us up against a graveyard deck, but I actually really like having this bullet in the 75, obviously, in general, just because we're a Mausoleum Secrets deck. But and I think in a lot of ways Esper is the better Mausoleum. I know there were some Grixis Shadow players trying to play around with Secrets when it first was spoiled, because it seemed like an obvious shell. Kind of like the thought process was, well, if Traverse makes sense in the green-based decks, why can't the non-green-based Shadow decks just play something like this? But I do really like just having a play set of Path. I really like the spell bombs just in general, and these feed into the Delirium theme. But yeah, I think the deck overall is a lot stronger than it might appear on the surface. Even for me, this is more streamlined than decks I usually play. So hope you guys enjoy that. And then, of course, after board, we've got a variety of different tutor targets for the secrets. Usually, game one, this is either a counter spell, a way to remove something like Ensnaring Bridge, or other problematic permanents with the Anguish I'm making. That's the promo of it if you don't recognize it, but that's the exile target non-land permanent. You lose 3 life. So definitely, it's kind of nice having some of these tools. But a lot of the time, maybe you're just grabbing Fatal Push. Maybe you're just grabbing Surgical. But a lot of the time, it's just Shadow. I know earlier in the game we grabbed a Thoughtseize just because I didn't really know what we were up against. But there's a lot of different choices to make with the secrets, and that definitely is something I enjoy immensely. But yeah, post board, more copies of Kaya and Counter Squall, but additional tutor targets real quick we can go over. Things that are new from the sideboard as far as tutor targets, both of the different types of 3-mana Liliana, obviously for when they go big, when they're small. Cry the Carnarium if we need another exile effect that's something a little bit more pinpointed at something like Phoenix or Dredge, some of these other decks that are a little small in their creatures, but they're also very resilient. So we just need that minus going on. Evil Presence, things like Tron, things like Amulet. Amulet's pretty popular right now, so it's nice to have a mana efficient tutor target post board for the secrets. A couple of Brutality. Yes, we will tutor for these depending on the matchup. So that's kind of why I like having the 2 of. Overall, we have a 2 of Counter Squall, a 2 of Kaya, and a 2 of Brutality. Most everything else are bullets, as you can see. So we got the girls. But something that I think a lot of players may or may not realize about Mausoleum Secrets is, especially since we're a Snapcaster Lingering Souls deck, quite a few players, they're maybe going to overboard on their Graveyard Hate. Not that Graveyard Hate doesn't affect us. It certainly does, playing like Shadow or Esper Shadow. Especially, I'd say Esper Shadow is a little bit more effective because I have literal reanimate spells, right, in the form of Orzhov Charm if I choose to use that mode post board. But you know, I guess overall, what I can say about the deck so far with my just initial testings is that I like that I get to play around with some of the same very cards that are being successful for the modern Esper control decks, minus Esper Charm. But we're a little bit more low to the ground, which I like. I think in modern, it's important that you have a proactive deck. I'd like to play some of the more controlling decks, but I think it's so tough. If you don't have something like Terminus right now to kind of pull you out of the depths, I think it's relatively difficult. It's not impossible. There are plenty of players that'll play control and they do just fine. But I kind of like having a slightly more proactive or combo deck when it comes to modern, just my personal preference. But to explain the Slaughter Pact, not that I need to justify it, there's been plenty of games where I'm ley-lined or I'm rest in peace, and it's really important for the Mausoleum Secrets to always have something to get. And I know the Slaughter Pact isn't always going to be relevant against every single different opponent that's going to try to ley line, or so those are all the black cards that are tutorable. Yes, I fully understand. The earliest that we can get these guys out is turn 2 anyway, so we'll just put them in the 2s. I fully understand that there's only so many matchups where we're going to want that, but it really is just there to bring in to convert the secrets into something more useful. And I've played around with a few different versions of the deck that are playing more than just 2 secrets. I feel pretty strongly that 2 secrets is where I like to be, but I've seen some players play as many as 3 in these different variations of Shadow. I think this adds a lot of fun to the archetype. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's makes it more competitive or anything, because it doesn't, certainly. But I think it adds some really cool elements. I like that I kind of get to attack some of the metagame, having some of this mean-decked, graveyard hate that's really the greediest piece is just surgical, right? But the playset of paths, the Kaya, the ambush, the especially the bombs, can do a lot of heavy lifting without hurting the deck too much. There's plenty of decks in Modern where, we'll get to Thoughtseize them, and then we're like, oh, they have another copy of that card in their hand, then we get to utilize the surgical in a reasonably profitable way, even against decks that might not have any sort of graveyard synergies, just hitting an important piece. Like against Amulet, if I Thoughtseize a Titan, and then it's as simple as me cycling a Street Wraith, now we've got 1 black creature in the yard, or we Thought Scour one of the other black creatures in the deck into the graveyard. Not impossible. And then I will Mausoleum Secrets, go grab the Surgical the Titans out of their deck. The deck is neutered. It doesn't do anything anymore. So there's quite a few decks that's true. I guess another example might be Storm. If the Grape Shot is exposed, we can just Thoughtseize that, Surgical it. Obviously, in that matchup, you're going to use this more so on something like Past in Flames, but only if they expose it to you. But anyways, thanks for tuning in for this little mini video, and I will catch you on the next stream, or check out some of my other videos. I did organize them into some playlists, so hope you guys enjoy checking out some of the other content that I have out there. All right, signing off. You guys have a nice night.